Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon. Yellowstone Season 5, Episode 14 Review. Taylor Sheridan's predictable finale is a devastating emotional letdown. Although the future of Yellowstone remains unclear following the airing of Life is a Promise, it's clear the Season 5 finale is designed to act as a series finale, but it fails to achieve all the great qualities of one. Taylor Sheridan's TV show seemingly ends with conclusions to most of the characters' stories, which is a good thing at first glance. Under the surface, though, each development in Yellowstone Season 5, Episode 14 lacks surprise and impact, making the hour quite forgettable despite its perceived significance to not only the neo-Western drama series, but also to TV history. Since its 2018 premiere, Yellowstone has taken television by storm. The show has been successful in drawing a wide audience and keeping them hooked. Critics and viewers alike have loved Yellowstone and often given Sheridan his flowers for creating such a gripping story about a complex family who owns the largest ranch in Montana. However, the series has fallen short of expectations in its fifth and perhaps final season. Yellowstone Season 6 might still happen, giving Sheridan a chance to fix his mistakes. For now, though, the show ends on a disappointing note. Following the painfully uneventful Yellowstone Season 5, Episode 13, many had the same predictions regarding what would happen in the final. Beth was going to kill Jamie, Rip would dispose of his body, and Case would sell the ranch to Chief Rainwater and the Broken Rock Reservation. Unfortunately, for those hoping to be wrong and be surprised, the events of Yellowstone Season 5, Episode 14 play out exactly as expected. Following John's funeral, Beth finally has the drive to get revenge for her father's death and heads to Jamie's house. Beth attacks her brother, and right when Jamie gets the upper hand, Rip arrives. While Rip holds him, Beth stabs Jamie, killing him and winning the long-winded Yellowstone Dutton family war. Almost everyone knew that Beth would be the one to murder Jamie, and anyone could predict that Case would sell the ranch to Chief Rainwater and create his own with his family after Episode 13. Consequently, the finale's big events are dissatisfying. Given the neo-Western drama's history and previous stakes, someone had to die in the Yellowstone finale. Jamie was the character at the top of everyone's list heading into the season's final episode. Because his death was expected, I hoped that Jamie's demise would at least be satisfying and effective. Instead, Beth killing her brother lacks intrigue or suspense. For a character who has been so important to Yellowstone's story, Jamie's death scene is anticlimactic, even though it should be one of the show's biggest moments. If there is one thing the Season 5 finale does right, it's John Dutton's funeral. Ever since Kevin Costner exited Yellowstone ahead of Season 5, Part 2, it was only a matter of time before the series paid tribute to his character. Thankfully, Taylor Sheridan picked the right time to do so, as the Dutton family's farewell to the patriarch is heartfelt, poignant, and memorable. As Yellowstone's fifth season reached its much-anticipated finale, viewers were poised for a culmination of dramatic conflicts, intricate character arcs, and the kind of emotionally charged storytelling that has become Taylor Sheridan's hallmark. Instead, the concluding episode delivered a sense of familiarity that dulled its impact, leaving fans grappling with the bittersweet realization that one of television's most compelling dramas might be losing its edge. From the outset, Episode 14 sought to tie up loose ends in the sprawling saga of the Dutton family. The stakes were as high as ever. The fight for the Yellowstone Ranch, the simmering political intrigue, and the unyielding interpersonal drama. Yet, in Sheridan's attempt to bring these threads together, the finale fell into a predictable pattern, sacrificing emotional resonance for tidy resolutions. The Dutton family's final moves. The episode opened with John Dutton, Kevin Costner, staring out over the Montana landscape, a moment heavy with symbolism but light on revelation. It's a recurring motif for Yellowstone, And while it usually serves to ground the series in its majestic setting, here it felt like a retread of past episodes, an empty echo rather than a meaningful note. Beth, Kelly Riley, and Jamie, Wiz Bentley, took center stage as their toxic sibling rivalry reached its boiling point. Beth's unrelenting quest to destroy Jamie was punctuated by confrontations that, while explosive, felt overly familiar. Sheridan's writing has often excelled in revealing the psychological layers of these characters, but this time, their exchanges lacked the nuance that once made their dynamic so compelling. Jamie's ultimate fate, a tragic yet unsurprising twist, cemented his role as the family's scapegoat. The decision felt inevitable, and while it carried a sense of poetic justice, it also underscored the series' reliance on cyclical narratives. The tragedy of Jamie Dutton has been a cornerstone of Yellowstone, but the finale's handling of his storyline bordered on the perfunctory, leaving little room for surprise or deeper insight. Rip and Beth, love in the time of chaos. Rip Wheeler, Cole Hauser, and Beth's relationship has long been a source of emotional grounding for Yellowstone. Episode 14 offered several tender moments between the two, including a poignant farewell as Rip prepared to leave the ranch. However, these scenes, while touching, felt like an attempt to placate viewers rather than advance their story in any meaningful way. Rip's departure, a consequence of the escalating violence surrounding the Duttons, was framed as a noble sacrifice, but it lacked the emotional weight necessary to make it truly impactful. Political intrigue and missed opportunities. The political subplot involving market equities and Governor Linnell Perry, Wendy Moniz, was another thread that demanded closure. While the power struggle over the Yellowstone Ranch provided ample tension throughout the season, the finale's resolution felt rushed and unsatisfying. Sheridan's decision to sideline Governor Perry in favor of more screen time for Beth and Jamie's feud was a misstep, as it diminished the broader stakes of the story. Market Equities CEO Caroline Warner, Jackie Weaver, remained a formidable presence, but her schemes ultimately amounted to little more than background noise. The lack of a decisive showdown between the Duttons and their corporate adversaries was a glaring omission, leaving viewers wondering if the series had lost its ambition to tackle larger themes of land, power, and legacy. A finale lacking emotional payoff. One of Yellowstone's greatest strengths has been its ability to deliver gut-wrenching emotional moments. From John Dutton's stoic resilience to Beth's fiery vulnerability, the series has consistently explored the depths of its characters' emotions. Yet Episode 14 felt emotionally hollow, relying on predictable beats rather than genuine surprises. Take, for example, Case, Luke Grimes, and Monica's, Kelsey Asbill, storyline. Their grief over the loss of their child has been a central theme this season, yet the finale offered little in the way of closure or progression. Casey's vision quest earlier in the season hinted at a spiritual awakening, but this thread was left dangling, an unresolved mystery in a sea of missed opportunities. Similarly, John's role as patriarch of the Dutton clan, a position that has defined the series, was diminished in the finale. His decisions, often driven by a mix of pragmatism and deep-seated values, felt arbitrary rather than calculated. The character who once commanded every scene with quiet authority seemed adrift, a shadow of his former self. The final scene, a familiar note. The episode's closing moments saw the Dutton family gathered around a bonfire, a visual callback to earlier seasons. While this tableau was undoubtedly intended to evoke a sense of unity and continuity, it instead highlighted the show's reluctance to venture into new territory. The flames flickered, but the fire that once fueled Yellowstone's storytelling brilliance seemed to have dimmed. Taylor Sheridan's dilemma. Taylor Sheridan's ability to craft intricate, character-driven narratives has been the driving force behind Yellowstone's success. However, the finale's predictability suggests that even a master storyteller can fall victim to the weight of expectations. By leaning too heavily on established tropes and familiar dynamics, Sheridan missed an opportunity to push the series in a bold new direction. It's worth noting that Yellowstone's expansive universe, including spin-offs like 1883 and 1923, may have diverted Sheridan's focus. While these companion series have enriched the Dutton family saga, they may also have diluted the creative energy needed to sustain the flagship show. Final thoughts. Yellowstone Season 5, Episode 14 was a finale that promised much but delivered little. While it provided closure to certain storylines, it did so in a manner that felt perfunctory rather than profound. The emotional letdown of the finale was not due to a lack of talent or ambition, but rather a failure to break free from the patterns that have defined the series.